So today I want to show you how you can use insights for ArcGIS to really easily compare different data sets together to get a better understanding of what's going on in an area. I have a water utilities case study that I want to explore. I want to see whether customers reporting on water quality issues, and so water quality problems we have in our network, are directly impacting the health score for those neighborhoods or not. So I've got a couple of data sets that I want to explore a little bit. The first of which is reported faults in and around Aylesbury over the course of a month, and some data from the Office for National Statistics, the ONS, around health scores across the whole of the UK. I'm going to show you how you can explore both of those and see whether there's positive correlation between the two or not. So I'll just introduce you to the faults first that we've got. So this is, I think we have roughly around 30,000 points in and around the 34,000 points in and around Aylesbury. We're specifically interested in the water quality reported faults. I mean, obviously there is a number of different reported faults that we get from customers, including things like low pressure. So the first thing that I want to do is actually strip out those other aliases that I'm not actually interested in. I'm only interested in these three water quality problems in terms of answering my question that I have. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this data so that we are only dealing with those data sets that I was just mentioning. So if I select those and click apply, here we can see on the left hand side in the table of contents we get a new data set which is just those water quality problems, and the map has also been filtered to show just those three. Now the second data set that I want to compare it to is a polygon data set. It sits in the Living Atlas and it's really easy just to get access to through the Esri subscription. So at the moment this is showing a chloropleth map. The darker the purple, the better the health score. However, I want to change that because we're actually interested in bad health. So if I drag the bad health attribute across onto this map and redraw it, I'll just change that to a chloropleth map again because it makes a little bit more sense. Here we can see the darker the colour, the worse the health. So is there any correlation between the numbers of water quality problems that are being reported here and the health score that has been reported from the Office for National Statistics? So the way that we do that is actually really simple. We do something called a spatial aggregation, and this is effectively how we join data sets together through a common geography to see if there's any correlation between the two. And the way that we do a spatial aggregation is we can select a data set and we can just pull it onto one of our other cards. When we do that, we're presented with a few options, one of which is the spatial aggregation. So if I do that, I'm actually going to leave this as the default. I'm just going to count up all of those water quality problems into each of the polygons. So for this area, how many water quality issues did we have? I can then compare that against the poor health score and see if there's any correlation or not. Now again, I'll just change that to a chloropleth map so you can make a little bit more sense of it. And interestingly, actually, when we count up all of those dots, which at this sort of scale it was hard to make sense of, into polygons, we can already see a bit of a spatial trend. There seems to be a spine where we're getting lots of water quality problems, and that's something that we might actually want to pay a bit of attention to and look at. However, in this case, I'm just going to be comparing those data sets that I was talking about. So on the left hand side in the table of contents, we see here that I've got another data set here, and now that's the output of that spatial aggregation that I just did. And that has got all the original data from the Office for National Statistics in. I've now also got that count score. That's really important. So that's the number of water quality issues in each polygon. And we can actually select multiple data sets and pull them on to create charts and scatter plots to see if there's any correlation or not. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'll select the counts, and I'll also select this number 10. This correlates to the poor health score in the Office for National Statistics dataset. And pulling both of those into a scatter plot tells an interesting story. We can see here that it looks like there's probably a tiny positive correlation here that's suggesting that where we're getting more water quality issues reported, there might be statistical significance regarding poor health. However, we can actually switch on the chart statistics and put in the linear reference line and see that whilst there is a slight positive gradient here, suggesting that the R squared value of that linear line is actually 0.031, which means that it's actually statistically insignificant and that we shouldn't be really concerned about that. The closer to 1 that R squared value is, the more concerned we should be, because the more statistically significant it will become. So this is just a really nice way of comparing data sets and getting just a greater understanding of what's going on using some living atlas data, which comes with the Esri subscription, against some of the data sets you might collect from people like your customers, to see if there's anything that you should be doing to improve customer experience.